Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Safe to say, was not expecting to be covering this here today. I'm sort of working behind the scenes in the office. We're setting up some new computer stuff and sort of just been hanging out today when I got a notification on my phone of a pretty surprising announcement. Not the only announcement today, though. We weren't able to cover this in the first video we posted today talking about Season 4. But before we jump into some of the breaking news that just dropped, figured I'd keep you guys informed. It actually catches us up on a leak that we talked about a little while back. Treyarch did end up posting this a little bit earlier on today, saying only one can win, #zombies. So this is actually teasing Season 4, which is set to drop on the 29th. So kind of some early marketing here, all things considered. But we've got this picture of two different logos, one that's got like the Sam robot, I think, on it, and then also Richtofen. And this seems to be teasing the grief mode actually coming to zombies. Obviously, we've seen several different leaks and rumors for Season 4 in regards to a new map potentially dropping, but we haven't really seen anything outside of that. We had grief, though, as a mode leaked for zombies a while ago. We talked about that in one of our recent leaks and rumors videos, and now it seems like it's going to be an official thing for Season 4 since Treyarch is now officially posting on it. So wanted to keep you guys up to date with that, but we also have much more breaking news that was also announced from Call of Duty today. So this is a brand new post from Warzone Mobile, which obviously has a ton of ties to core Warzone. You can cross over with your Battle Pass XP, do all sorts of things there that go back and forth. There were some skin crossovers that were supposed to happen originally with like the ghost skin with him wearing like the skull crown and whatever and whatnot, right? Like Warzone Mobile been a huge thing, only been out for a little while too. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but completely out of the blue, Call of Duty now has actually canceled and shut down, or will be shutting down, Warzone Mobile. So it's going to be going exclusively back to console and PC for Warzone accessibility. And this is a surprisingly quick situation. So Warzone Mobile ends up posting this, saying, "We deeply appreciate your dedication and passion for Call of Duty Warzone Mobile. Going forward, we'll be streamlining the scope of the game. This decision was made after careful consideration of various factors. While we're proud of the accomplishment in bringing Warzone to a mobile, play space in an authentic way, it unfortunately has not met our expectations with mobile-first players like it has with PC and console audiences." So this is essentially them saying that they have yet to, or they really haven't, not yet to, but really haven't made the strides in keeping players on the game since launch. Warzone Mobile launched, obviously there was a decent bit of hype behind it because it was the first time you could actually go through and experience Warzone on the go. You could keep up to date with events and battle pass stuff and do various leveling things and have that available on the go, which was cool, right? You obviously had the return of Verdansk and got that experience there first. We covered it a little bit here on the channel. Now, obviously we're not up to date fully one-to-one on Warzone Mobile updates constantly, but they've been mirroring the events and the updates of normal Warzone for some time now, obviously. But they've fallen behind lately, and players are sort of taking note of that. Like the Season 3 Reloaded update was way behind the general Reloaded update for Warzone on console and PC, and players are like, what's going on here? And now they announced this, that Warzone Mobile is no longer going to be a thing, and it's largely because it couldn't actually retain players. And that's the big takeaway, because that will be important for normal Warzone, and we'll discuss that here in a bit. But going back to their post here, they say, as a result, we'll no longer be delivering new seasonal content and gameplay updates to the mobile version. Effective immediately, players will no longer be able to purchase COD points or black sell using real currency in Warzone Mobile. Sunday, May 18th, 2025 will be the last day the game can be downloaded from the Google Play and Apple's App Store, and social features across both mobile platforms will be retired entirely. Players who have the game installed before Monday, May 19th, 2025 will still have access to the game with continued cross-progression of shared inventories using existing content and servers with matchmaking for online play. Any unspent COD points can also be redeemed in-game towards available content in the store. We know that this news may be disappointing. We truly appreciate the support, passion, feedback, and dedication from the community. We have special incentives for Warzone Mobile players in COD Mobile and encourage our players to try it for free. For more details on those, you can check out the page. It's basically saying like there's cross stuff that happens between those, but no more support for Warzone Mobile in general now. It is stopping basically this week. So you'll still be able to play it and use cross progression and stuff like that for your main accounts. It's not going to be receiving anything new. So going forward, when we see Season 4, 5, 6, etc. drop the new titles for COD 2025 with Black Ops 7, etc., that stuff is no longer going to be relevant to the mobile aspect. So if you were someone who was consistently using these, back and forth features of being able to do stuff on mobile that then translates to normal COD, no longer going to be the case, which is pretty surprising. And I say that because it was just over a year ago when Warzone Mobile dropped. It launched worldwide on March 21st with Verdansk and Rebirth Island back in 2024. So we're just over a year of this game being out. And mobile is largely the dominant platform for Call of Duty. I mean, they've had the mobile dominance in terms of player count in COD for basically the entirety of COD Mobile being out, and a lot of us assumed Warzone Mobile would follow that trend, and it's pretty alarming that just 1 year and a little bit extra post-launch, the game's already done with support. That's got to be really concerning from COD's standpoint. Now, COD Mobile, its own entity, must still be going strong enough that they're not worried there, and they're, incentivizing Warzone Mobile players to head on over to that. But this not being able to hold a player base, even with Verdansk, even with Rebirth, even with the incentives of cross progression and everything going on, that's pretty surprising news and pretty alarming news for Call of Duty. And how exactly does this relate to normal Warzone, normal Call of Duty? Well, obviously, yes, all the cross progression stuff. If you have it downloaded, you can still take advantage until there's like fully new battle passes and the new games and everything. So limited time there. But if Warzone Mobile just 1 year post launch is already receiving such little, retention and has such a lower player base on it than expected, that they're just straight up canning it and shutting down support for it. What does that mean for the future of standard Warzone, where obviously, as we know, Verdansk brought back a significant chunk of players, but it has since then plateaued a decent bit. We just talked about this the other day, how things are a little bit concerning that Warzone's not continuing to rise back up after Verdansk. It had an initial spike and then has plateaued because of bugs and glitches and other issues going on in game. And as the Ghost of Hope reported a while back with some of his COD 2026 leaks, Warzone 3, the future of Warzone integrations and Warzone support, may be in jeopardy if Verdansk fails to retain current and returning players. The exact situation that mobile just underwent that caused it to lose support is on the table technically for the future of standard Warzone, which would be huge for Call of Duty. Warzone is a massive chunk of that player base, especially post-launch of the premium title. That's obviously going to maintain players throughout the first month or two, but then if it's like Black Ops 6, beyond that, as you get to season 1, 2, 3, it starts to decline at a pretty rapid rate, it seems like year over year, whereas Warzone can really retain things a little bit better, as we've seen over the past few years. So this poses a lot of interesting questions for Call of Duty as a whole. While yes, it is mobile, which, I mean, at least here on our channel, is not the biggest focus. It sort of is after the fact, considering there's so many tie-ins, like some of the builds and guns that work well in this one work well for mobile, so you could use like the loadout videos to set up stuff for that. But like, obviously, we're not fully following all of the mobile stuff here, but the general concept of the player retention, the concerns there, the potential for support ending applies in a relatively similar way, just on a larger scale, of course. But we don't really get the true insight in mobile numbers. We know that it's the dominant, percentage of COD players for their like yearly users when it's in the hundreds of millions. So much of that comes from mobile being so easily accessible, COD Mobile in specific. We never really got full insights into Warzone Mobile, but if it was that bad that just a year into the game, they stop all support, yikes. And I do wonder what that means for Warzone going forward now, considering Verdansk was like their big answer, their big, hey, this is what we've got going on. It's back. We're back. Come play Warzone again. Let's spike those numbers up. And it did so for a little bit, then plateaued. I mean, I feel like they're going to have more pressure now, Warzone that is, to really try and spike those numbers back up over the next few seasons, or we might be having another similar conversation for general Warzone. I mean, this is completely out of the blue and very, very surprising to say the least. But that being said, that's going to wrap things up for this one. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like on it, despite the rather alarming news. And of course, if you're new to the channel, you want to make sure you're in the know for everything going on in the world of Call of Duty, this is the place to be. So feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.